In this video, we're going to talk about the age-old question, how long does it take to learn to trade? Here's my opinion. Stay tuned. Hey traders, a very warm welcome to you. Welcome back to this video. Okay, so this question comes in loads, very frequently, very often a question from new traders, and it's understandable. How long does it take to learn to trade? So first of all, let's define learn to trade. Pretty much, if we're talking about how long it takes to actually understand the market, understand what a broker does, understand long and short, get a few candlestick patterns, you're talking a month, aren't you? If that. You know, it's relatively simple. It's just knowledge. And if you apply yourself, you can understand early on a couple of setups. You can understand early on what a candlestick is, what the different chart timeframes are, you know, how you execute a trade, some of the main markets, and you can be away and you can be trading in inverted commas. That's not very useful, is it? Because ultimately, I consider learning to trade somebody who develops some kind of level of skill where there's an element of profitability there. Now, I don't use the word consistency because I think that's overused. You know, consistency can mean anything. Consistent means somebody who makes money every trade. No, it doesn't happen. Every day. No, I don't know somebody who made money every day for decades. Maybe there is somebody out there, could be, but you know, that's not what we're aiming for. Is it somebody who makes money every week? It's possible. Month? Possible for a good period of time. What about every year? Very feasible. You know, how do you define consistency? So it's all subjective, and also to kind of strategy you're trading. You're swing trading. Of course, you can have drawdown in month by month. Does it mean you're losing? No, it doesn't mean that. It just means you're drawing down based on your positions that you've got. What about day trading? You have a bad week. Does that, you know? Consistency is very subjective. So I'm going to kind of put it into a thing if you've got potential to make profit, that over time you're making more money than you're losing. That to me is an element of success as a trader. Now some people take that to a really big level, and some people keep it to a level where they're just making a little bit of money. I think as long as you're on that above the negative level in terms that you're doing okay, that to me means that you've learned how to trade. You know, you've got the ability to take money from the market when the conditions suit you, and the size is variable depending on obviously what you're putting in there. So back to the initial point, how long does it take to learn to trade? It took me years to get rolling. It took me years, and the reason was because let's say this is my start point, and this is the same for many traders, guys, but just hang on to the end of the video because I'm going to tell you how you can shortcut this massively. You know, let's say you've got your finish here, and by the way, I want to, for the record, say this: there is no finish. You are always learning and always improving. That is the beauty and the joy of trading, is that there is no finish line. Yes, you get to a point at a level of competency where you're doing well in your trading, but there's never ever a finish line. You're always learning more, you're always adapting to the markets, you're always improving, increasing your position size, doing this, doing that, ever evolving. So, but let's just assume that the finish line here is a certain level of competency at trading. And this is kind of, people expect that this is the pathway, but in reality, this was kind of my pathway. You know, I go back a little bit more, I maybe do this, I go back, you know, and you do this, and finally you get there. And that would take me years to do that. You know, make some steps forward, go back a bit, this and that. And you can see kind of the visualization that I'm trying to make with that. But how do you shortcut that? And that's really because when I was starting out, the structure was very different. There wasn't that much stuff online. It was very early days for internet. You know, YouTube and stuff wasn't there yet. So, you know, online courses weren't there. I went actually to a physical course and looked at kind of I went to a physical course and listened to a lecturer talking about charting. That was kind of as official as it got. But really, in reality, you can do it. I think you can do it in 6 months if you are really focused. I know some people are going to say, oh, does that sound a bit short? And I know some people are going to say that's a little bit short. But I'm thinking of getting to a certain level where you're an expert in one particular market and the conditions are right in the market. So let's say you've got good market conditions and you're very structured. You can learn obviously the initial basics and read some books and understand how the market works. There's your phase one, and then you move into phase two, which is getting your niche. So that's when your personality starts to come into it and you decide what style I'm going to trade, what market I'm going to trade. Then you get into phase 3, which is your setups and strategy. And if you're trying to fast track this into 6 months to a year, you're going to want to focus specifically on 1 or 2 strategies that are working well in the market conditions, whether that's volatility expansion, range expansion, mean reversion, whatever it may be. You want to focus on that. And then the last kind of leg, if you like, is going to be your refinement of that, and just really being very, very focused and very, very disciplined and working on things very, very hard. Now, the first couple of phases are relatively easy, right? It's relatively easy to get to there. This final phase is where most people are. Most people have this, they have the setups, they have the strategy, they know what they want to do, they know the knowledge, they've got really superior knowledge, but it's just getting to this out of the way to get over the stumbling block of just actually making some money in trading. And that's really where this can end up being stretched out long time, where you go loop back like I showed you in the earlier example. So, how do you make sure that you're doing well on fall? This is really a kind of psychology aspect. This is really where the discipline comes in, sticking to the rules. You've planted the seeds, and if you plant the foundations, the right foundations, in other words, you say, hey, I'm going to be focused on one thing. I'm going to be focused on one strategy. I'm only going to do this. I'm not going to listen to any noise, any nonsense, anyone else. I know what I'm doing. I know this is profitable. If I execute this right, this will work. I need to refine it a little bit. Then you can get there. Then you can do your self-improvement and discipline and all the psychology stuff that really is the last thing that gets you over that hurdle and gets you into the zone of actually doing well out trading, having some success at trading. And then you start again and you build on that to improve and improve and improve. So how long does it take to learn to trade? I think you can do it in 6 months if you're really, really disciplined, really, really focused. You've got a good base, you've got a good foundation, you do it the right way. But it could take you up to many, many years. And there are still guys actually out there who have been doing this thing for a decade and are still struggling to get to where they are, where they'd like to be. That's the way it is. I guess it's the way it is across the board with all kind of professions. Some people are going to get there earlier, sooner than others. Some people are going to take a long time. So, but if you say to yourself, okay, a year before I start to see some decent results, then I think you're probably going to know if you're going to get there or not. After a year, things are going to be almost in place and you're just working on some final little pieces of the puzzle, and maybe going into that second year, or you're accelerating, like I say, you're doing a 6 month, you're saying, yeah, actually it's working really, really well, and then you grasp it. Now, not to say you're not going to get set back later on. You are going to. Market conditions change. That may not work for you, but the experience you get and the kind of feeling you get in trading is going to be invaluable. So that's my take on it, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, take care. Good trading, manage the risk. I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.